good evening. We are back to chapter 10 that we started last week, Spirit Occupations and Missions. We talked about the role of the spirits, both incarnates and discarnates, what they do there in the spiritual world, what they do here in the physical world, and how their missions and their tasks according to their roles and according to their degree of evolution. So we discussed a little bit about the imperfect spirits, what's their purpose, what spirits are doing, if they are doing something there or they're just idle. And of course, spirits are always busy, they have their work there. And we talked a little bit about the functions they fulfill there, and about the last question we discussed last week was about the elevated spirits, if they are in absolute rest or they have their occupations also. And the answers from the spirits is that eternal idleness would be an eternal anguish, as we can imagine, and that they receive directly orders from God, and they are co-creators of the universe, executing the missions and the tasks that are attributed to them directly from God. Of course, we are at this level, we cannot still understand how this process occurs because it's way too above us. So we stopped on question 562. We're going to start today on question 563. Philip.
Yes. Are spirits incessantly occupied? Yes, if by incessantly you mean that their thought is always active because they live by thought. A spirit's occupations differ from a person's material occupations in that it is a pleasure since the spirit is cognizant of being useful. This may apply to superior spirits, but what about lower ones? The occupations of lower spirits correspond to their nature. Would you assign intellectual responsibilities to an illiterate day laborer?
So when we talk about what the spirits are doing there, and we know by studying the books of André Luiz, of course, these questions that Kardec asked the spirits here is in the very beginning of learning what the spirits are doing in the spiritual world and how they influence in our daily lives. And here, the spirits are telling that, again, as we understand that the spirits are nothing more than us without the physical body, we here have thoughts all the time. We have, the continuous thought is a characteristic of the spirit, the individualized spirit, right? What differentiates us from animals is animals have, how do you call it? The thoughts are cut all the time. It's not continuous thought. It interrupted thought, yeah. So that's why animals cannot develop the intelligence the way we can. We have continuous thoughts, and through these continuous thoughts, of course, they continue in the spiritual world. So nothing changes when I go back to the spiritual world, except we no longer have a physical body. So we are only idle there if we want to be idle. Well, but how long can we stay idle? Even here, right? After a certain time, everybody talks, we want, we need vacations. We want to be on vacation. But after a certain point, even vacations, we get tired of the vacation. We want to do something useful, right? It's the same thing with the spirits. They want to do something. And again, depending on their level of evolution, it's what they will be looking to do. So inferior spirits will try to maybe cause harm, maybe disturb others, maybe cause all sorts of disturbances for incarnates and discarnates, right? We are studying the book Liberation. We see how Gregorio works in the lower zones, used to work in the lower zones and direct spirits there. A whole city there, right? That you had spirits in prison, spirits in under the complete control. So in the spiritual world, spirits are busy all the time. The more evolved spirits are busy trying to help and assist us, trying to evolve also, because we are always evolving, but in the learning process, they try to be useful to others. Without charity, there is no salvation. The only way to evolve is through practicing charity, right? So depending on our level of evolution, we'll be doing different things, but most of the spirits, the vast majority, they are busy doing something. You may have idle spirits for a certain period of time, but it won't last long, because even if you are less evolved, you want to do something, right? We want to do something here. You see, even those that do not, try to live off the government, right? Receiving help for the government, they're doing something, even if they are, watching TV or playing video games or whatever. It's activities, right? It may not be useful to them or to others, but it's activity. So if you think about the spiritual world, it's a little bit different than here. They'll be doing something there. What exactly depends on their level of evolution. Okay.
564. Do some spirits remain idle, partaking in nothing that is useful? Yes, but this is temporary and depends on the development of their intelligence. Some spirits live only for themselves, as some humans do. Still, their idleness is a burden, and the desire to advance eventually causes them to feel the need to be active. They are happy to make themselves useful. We are speaking of spirits who have arrived at the necessary point of self-consciousness and free will. At their origin, they are like newborn babies and act more out of instinct than from any semblance of a resolute will.
So more or less what we discussed, right? The spirits remain idle temporarily, and they may be selfish, they may be trying to do something for themselves, and but in the end, the idleness, as they say here, is a burden, right? Because eventually you get tired. How are they approaching and rescuing Gregorio, the leader of the lower zones? Remember when we discussed that? What is the opening that the Gregorio gave to his mother to allow the group that is there trying to rescue him? Boredom. He's getting bored of doing the same thing for 500 years, right? He's not he's not changing his mind. He still wants to continue doing the things that he do, but he is getting bored of his work, and that's the opening they have to go there and try to rescue him, and we'll get there later in the book, right? So again, we have spirits that are less evolved that want to progress, that have the consciousness of needing to learn and progress, and these spirits are used by more evolved spirits to help in different things that are needed. So when a more evolved spirit needs to act direct on us here, they may use an intermediary. They may use a less evolved spirit because they are much closer to us in terms of materiality, right? They are much closer to us than a more evolved spirit that has to make an extra effort to reach us directly. So it is for a double purpose. They use these spirits for the advancement of these spirits and to make it things easier for them and for us. So it's all following the natural laws, God's laws. Okay, but it's interesting here. They compare at their origin, they are like newborn babies and act more out of instinct. So in the beginning of the evolutionary path, when we are more like primitive spirits, our reincarnation process is constant, and the time we spend in the spiritual world is very short, because there is not much for us there to learn, because we need to be here experiencing the physical life to evolve. So that's where we are acting more out of instinct, and we are like newborn babies. But they also can be used in the spiritual world by more evolved spirits for specific tasks, specific missions. Okay. Okay.
565. Do spirits survey and take an interest in our works of art? They scrutinize whatever indicates the elevation of incarnate spirits and their progress.
So, and this is going to be discussed a little bit later in this chapter. Their interest in our works of art depends on their degree of elevation, right? Because the spirits that are still too attached to materiality and that are involved with arts here, of course, they go back to the spiritual world and continue being interested. Let's say the musicians in our music, the painters in our painting. But as we evolve, the art in the spiritual world is much more sublime and elevated. So they lose, as they evolve, they lose interest in our art, which is, they will compare later and see in a question, you know, our art for more evolved spirits is like a childish art, right? Our painting, our music. So you can imagine how sublime is on the other side. But again, the spirits that are closer to us, which is the majority of spirits, they will still be interested and trying to influence, right? To inspire or to inspire the artists to produce art. So we keep our interests, of course. So they talk about architects later here. So architects. So imagine you are an architect and you had some beautiful buildings. You have an interest if you are not more elevated, you have an interest in keep following it or keeping in seeing how things are or how it's recognized or not. We are humans there also on the other side, right? Okay.
566. Does a spirit who has held a special occupation on earth, such as a painter or an architect, for example, take a special interest in the fields they preferred on earth? Everything is merged into one general goal. Good spirits are interested in whatever enables them to assist others in rising closer to God. Furthermore, a spirit may have practiced an art during the existence in which you knew them, could have practiced another in another lifetime. Remember, spirits must know everything to be perfect. To achieve maximum advancement, they must have no specialty, which is a point I alluded to in saying that everything merges into one general goal. Take note that what seems sublime to you in your rudimentary world will be nothing more than child's play in higher worlds. How can you presume that spirits inhabiting these higher worlds would admire what in their eyes is the work of a child, when they have arts and sciences that transcend your senses? As I have already stated, they examine whatever may indicate progress. Subsection A. We understand that this is the case with very advanced spirits. However, What about more common spirits who have not yet risen above human ideas? That is a different story. Their perspective is narrower in scope, and they may admire what you admire.
Yeah. So this is something that what I mentioned before, right? The concept here, the important concept here is the understanding of our necessity in our evolutionary path to broaden our knowledge. So we always bring the example of Mozart, right? That he's a genius musician, but his next incarnation, he couldn't be a musician again, because then he would be again a genius musician and not develop any other, scientific or other attributes, medicine, sciences, or so. It's important for us to understand that Mozart goes back to the spiritual world, right? So the part after an incarnation that he came here and became a doctor, let's say. No, he liked music but had no talent for it because he couldn't. But when he goes back to the spiritual world, he's not going to remember immediately that he was Mozart, but the music part comes back stronger to him because it belongs to the spirit. You know, when we come, the physical body restrains some of our attributes because of what we need in the physical world, in our incarnation. But when we go back to the spiritual world, the physical body is no longer an impediment. So Mozart will regain his taste and understanding of music, and of course he could be again interested. And then you talk about Dr. John giving a communication. He's so interested in music, and we ask, why Dr. John is so interested in music? Because of his past. That's what he's saying about could have practiced another in another incarnation. Because remember, the top, the perfection is the top of the mountain. There's all the mountain, we can rise up to the mountain in different paths around it, right? And following different routes, but all of us need to reach the top, which is the perfection. And throughout the paths, we need to learn. And again, we don't need to learn everything. We don't need to be a doctor, a lawyer. No, but we need to acquire the general knowledge. So you need to be involved with arts in one incarnation to acquire the taste of arts. It doesn't matter if it's painting, if it's music, but you need to develop that sensibility to arts in one incarnation. And then if you are very into this, the next incarnation, maybe you need to study hard in the scientific aspect. So you come here and become more interested in scientific. You probably have a good taste for art, whatever art you had in the past, but not the ability to do it, because every time you have the ability, you may decide to focus on that side. So this is our evolutionary path. Now, as the spirits progress more and more understanding the sublime of arts in the spiritual world, the less they'll be interested in arts from our physical world, because they will mean less and less to them. But that's a process, an evolutionary process.
They're far more evolved, the less interested they will be in our kind of art or whatever.
Yes, but Paco said the more they're evolved, the less interested they will be here in what happens in our physical world in terms of these things. They will be more interested in us as spirits helping us progressing, and less interest in what we are producing here, because that's not the objective. Okay?
I have a question.
Sure.
In cases where like challenge brothers, right, they come back, they have that remembrance of like the physician or the mathematician, they the young age, that they know a lot. So that mean that's not their mission, or their work's not done within that specialty?
Yeah, he asked about the child prodigy, the children that come with these abilities, the genius kids that come with abilities in music, in mathematics, in science. How come, or if if they are coming with a special mission, or they are coming with already bringing this knowledge? Well, there is always a reason for them to come with this, right? We need to understand each one's history to understand why they bring this. But it helps for their own evolution. For us, they bring us something also. If it's a mathematician, the progress of mathematics. If it's a musician, the art that comes in a musician. The remembrance they have from a previous existence that happens between 0 and 7, much more than later, right? These are some attributes that some children have that is also a way to show us the reincarnation, right? More and more, the more contact we have with this type of children, the more people will feel comfortable and accept the concept of reincarnation. So that's the role that many of these children are bringing to us. And yes, something that you said, maybe they need to complete what they started in a previous life and they didn't complete. It's not that they need for themselves, it's because it's an important work. So they will come already with this baggage ready for them to continue building from there. And you take Mozart, going back to Mozart, he was composing symphonies when he was 4 years old. You cannot imagine that someone can compose a symphony with 4 years old without bringing from a previous existence. So of course, Mozart was already a good musician in a previous life, a very good musician. And he brought with him to continue developing that, because the work he left for us was very important. And for him to leave this work for us, he needed to bring his previous knowledge. So that's an example of why a child would come with this. But again, each case is a case, right? Okay. All right. Next. Oops, sorry, Philip. It's jumped all over here. Let me go back where we are.
567.
567. We have jumped all the way to 580. There you go.
Do spirits ever participate in our occupations and pleasures? Ordinary spirits, as you call them, do. They are always around you and have a role in everything that you do, which may be more or less active. They do this to motivate men and women in the different walks of life and to rouse or curb their passions. Spirits are interested in this world in proportion to their elevation or inferiority. Higher spirits have the power of looking into the smallest details of things, but only do so when they think it is useful to progress. Lower ranking spirits attribute a degree of importance to such things in proportion to what is left of their memory of this world and material notions.
So, do spirits ever participate in our occupations? Much more than we think and much more than we are aware of. Actually, they are around us all the time. More evolved spirits trying to inspire us and guide us, but they don't interfere on our free will. Less evolved spirits trying to disturb us, to participate in our pleasures because they miss it, or because they want to cause harm to us, maybe. The cases of personal issues that they have with us from previous existences or from this present life, or things that we have done that we have attracted them. So the connection we made, and we studied this a couple of weeks ago, is according to our vibrational level, how much we open ourselves to them and to which side, right? Elevating our thoughts through prayers, through good thoughts, good deeds, we attract the assistance of more evolved spirits. By lowering our thoughts, engaging in inferior vibrations, or engaging in inferior pleasures, we attract inferior spirits that may be connected to us temporarily to share these pleasures because it's what they miss here, or because they want to cause harm to us. So, they are involved with us much more than we actually understand, right? But again, very important, we have our free will, so we cannot blame them for our own actions. It's our own responsibility. They will try to influence us, but if we hear them or not is our own decision, our own choices. Okay? Okay.
568. When spirits receive a mission, do they accomplish it when errant or when incarnated? They may be assigned a mission in either state. For some errant spirits, this mission is a very important occupation.
Okay. So let's talk about mission. What is a mission? A mission is a special task that a spirit receives. And again, in Spiritism, we call mission something for the good, right? We are not going to call mission some spirit that comes to destroy, that comes to cause harm. They can say they are on a mission, but we don't call it a mission. We call it a mission when it's a positive objective. And a mission can be, and we are going to discuss it a little bit more, can be something very small. To raise a child is a mission for the parents. We're going to see this. Or it can be a mission of be responsible for a country, like you have the spirit guides of the countries, right? Or a city or a state, or a mission to be responsible for a group of scientists that are trying to find the cure for cancer, let's say, and that they will have spirits assigned to on a mission to help and assist them. So a mission can be very broad, and we are going to discuss more about it, but you can also come with a mission as an incarnate, of course, and this is important here also, right? When you talk about Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Abraham Lincoln, they are all missionaries. Martin Luther King, they are all missionaries, not perfect spirits, not there. So they have their shortcomings also, but they are all here on a mission, right? Chico Xavier, right? All of these are spirits that left us with good examples and good models for us. So we can tell that they were all missionaries, right? Okay.
569. What missions may be assigned to errant spirits? It would be impossible to list them all because they are so diverse, and there are even some that you could not possibly understand. Spirits carry out God's will, and you are not able to gain access to all of God's designs. The purpose of a mission is always good, whether as spirits or incarnate beings. They are expected to help advance the progress of humanity, nations, and individuals alike, within a more or less extensive range of ideas. They pave the way for specific events and oversee the success of specific things. Some spirits may have a mission that is narrower in scope and are considered personal or even localized. They help the sick, the dying, or the suffering, serving as a guide and protector, and helping them find their way by their guidance or the honest thoughts they suggest. There are as many spirit missions as there are interests, whether in the physical world or in the spirit world. Each spirit advances according to how it accomplishes the task with which it has been entrusted.
Okay, so of course, the list of missions it's infinite, and there are many that we are not even aware of because we talk about the universe, and we don't know how the natural laws work and God's laws work, right? But one thing that is important to remember here: a mission is always with the objective of helping others. There is never a selfish mission. I'm not here on a mission to become millionaire. This is not a mission. This is my own personal interest, right? So a mission is always something to help 1, 2, or millions of people. That's a mission, all right? Or to help progress of spirits, but in an indirect way. When you are on a mission to create a planet, right? You are preparing a planet that is going to receive future generations of spirits, incarnates or discarnates. It's a mission. It's for the benefit of spirits, but it's indirect. It's not direct because you're not directly helping spirits, right? But you are working, executing God's will, creating the creation of the universe. Jesus came, well, this is the biggest missionary of Earth, right? The governor of the planet. Yes. Paco is asking if we're moving towards perfection, isn't that the mission that each one of us have? No, this is not a mission. This is our evolutionary path. A mission is when you receive something that you are in charge of. And your evolutionary path, you don't receive it. It's already with you from the creation since you begin. It's your own path. Yeah. You cannot hear him, right? Paco is saying that he doesn't want to get into semantics, but you could say that it's my mission to become better every day, my mission to evolve as a spirit. Again, it's words. What we are discussing here is the mission in the concept of a spiritism, in the spiritist concept. You can use the word mission for different purposes. Even, you see inferior spirits come in here and tell, I'm on a mission to destroy you all. We don't call it a mission. We call it other things, but they use the word mission, right? So we talk about mission as helping others. When it's something personal, it's not a mission. It may be our evolutionary path, or it may be our wrong choices and desires, right? Sorry? It's a matter of definition, the word mission. Yes. But we are like soul in spirit is an incarnated spirit, and out there you see other definitions of soul, right? Yes. She's asking if all the spirits have a mission, or if some spirits are here just to evolve. No, not all spirits have a mission. A mission is a choice that you make with the assistance of the spirits, or by yourself. You know, you decide that I decide now that I want to help A, B, and C. I want to help this neighborhood to get better. So that's my mission now. It's a positive thing, but I can decide for myself. But there are plenty of spirits here that are not doing anything useful, not even for them. So yeah, no, missions are assigned by the spirits or by our own choices. Of others, yes, yes. And again, you can go, I specifically mentioned parenthood, you know, being parents, because this is a mission also. When you receive a spirit to educate a spirit, it is a mission. You may fail miserably, and many of us, unfortunately, fail in it, but it's a mission. Mission does not guarantee success. That's also important. It's not because people are missionaries that they'll be successful. They may receive a mission and fail to complete the mission. Fail because we are humans and we deviate, we choose different paths. So we came here with the idea of us saving the world and decided that we can barely save ourselves and stay there, right? Yeah, but he was a missionary and he followed his path. But you know the characteristic of a true missionary? He or she will never recognize that they are a missionary. Whenever you see someone coming and saying, I'm on a mission, you raise a red flag there, because a true missionary will never recognize that they are a missionary. You know, you ask Chico Xavier, he was asked many times, and he was always going to say, no, I'm the flea in the dog. I'm smaller than the flea in the dog, right? Because he never recognized his mission, and that's humility, yes. But the true missionaries are humble. That's the main characteristic of a true missionary, is being humble, right? Understanding, you know, Socrates. All I know is that I know nothing. This is the humility there, right? And that's the missionary. Okay. Okay.
$570. Do spirits always understand the plans they must carry out? No. Some are blind instruments, but others fully understand their end goal.
Okay, here the question is not about mission. Do spirits always understand the plans they must carry out? So spirits, less evolved spirits, are used by more evolved spirits, like blind instruments, to fulfill the needs and help their own progress. I gave the example of the bees here some weeks ago, right? Do bees are aware that they are producing honey and they are helping humanity? Yeah, no, they do it because it's their instinct, it's their nature, right? They're less evolved spirits that are used as bees to fulfill their purpose, but again, this is not a mission. Because if you're, yes, yeah, okay. Okay, Philip.
571. Do only elevated spirits receive missions? The importance of a mission is always proportionate to the capacity and elevation of the spirit. A courier who delivers a message fulfills a mission, although it is not equivalent to that of a general.
Okay, and that brings another very interesting point here, that missions are not big things only, right? Small things are mission. A nurse that is working in the hospital, dedicating her time and her willingness to help, to be assistant, of assistance to others, maybe a missionary if she's doing out of her goodwill and her desire to help and be useful to society, right? The parents sincerely trying to raise their kids are on a mission, right? So any spirit can receive missions as long as it's to help and assist others, to be of assistance to others, to help others progress. So he gives an example here, a courier who delivers a message fulfills a mission, right? Because it's something important that courier is doing. And again, we need to also differentiate between missions of a lifetime and small missions that we can do on our daily lives, right? We don't need to be a missionary throughout our life to be able to do small good deeds throughout our life, small missions. Okay. No questions from the audience. Dani raised her hand immediately. There, Dani.
I was trying to find the hand here, couldn't find it in time. So I was quiet today, right? Yeah. Could it be the reverse, that a child may be born on a mission to help the parents?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Happens many times. She asked if it could be the reverse, a child being born with a mission to help parents. Because of our evolutionary path, that normally we are always progressing. So theoretically, a child is more evolved than the parents. Theoretically, not always, and there are many exceptions. Of course, a child can come to be yeah, Daniela. Yeah. So yes, definitely, and we can see many children. I always remember the story of this family that the couple had 4 kids and adopted a 5th, and he died early. But when she was sick, the only one that stayed with her all the time was the one that was adopted. All the 4 others disappeared from her. So you see the adopted was the one carrying out the mission of taking care of the mother who adopted her. So you see that this is definitely that child that was adopted in another life was related to the mother, almost for sure, because we always come to the old families, right? Yes, we come to the same family, many members of the same family. Yes. Okay.
Was the only one who accepted the responsibility of development. That's not a mission. That's taking care of the group. Because all 5 should be responsible of the development. So all 4 that they felt people feeling that do their responsibility, not a mission.
Yeah, a mission is something specific, but you have filial responsibility towards your parents. What Elmo is saying here is that the 5th one is fulfilling a duty, not a mission, because the responsibility to take care of your parents is something that you should come naturally with. It's a responsibility that you receive when you are incarnated, right? So it's making a distinction that it's not a mission, it's a duty. Yes. Yes, and he's right. You may look at it as a duty, not as a mission. Yes. It could also be a mission if the child chose to come with the mission of helping the parents before, but maybe not. Could be, but it's a duty, as he said. Yeah. Okay.
572.
Yes.
Is a spirit's mission forced upon it or chosen by it? It asks for it and is happy to get it. Can several spirits ask for the same mission? Yes, there are often several candidates for the same mission, but they are not all chosen.
That's important here, right? A mission is never forced upon, because you need to want to carry out the mission. You may fail later, but you need to want to do it. Nobody is going to force you to come on a mission that you don't want to, right? So Spirit's mission is chosen by the Spirit. It's always according to our free will. And again, because the mission is to help others, you need to want to help others. You need to want to fulfill the mission. And the Spirit, when it asks for it, of course, is happy to get it. And then several spirits ask for the same mission. Very possible, right? We have candidates for jobs here, more candidates than jobs available. So of course, we'll have more spirits willing to carry out some missions. And how are they choosing the spirit that is going to be responsible for the mission, right?
By the potential of fulfilling.
Yeah, exactly. The potential of fulfilling, and the more evolved spirits, they know according to their understanding the potential. Again, when Kardec, of course, a missionary that came to bring spiritism to us, he chose the mission. He came and fulfilled the mission. The spirits allow him, gave him the mission, helped him, but they had a plan B. They always have a plan B, because we have our free will. Could Kardec have decided that he didn't want to? Yes, he could. Maybe he decided he was happy being a teacher in French and mathematics and whatever he did. And
He was like a bit,
he was already, yes. Yeah, he was a scholar, and he didn't want to go to see the turning tables, because he thought it was just something, a joke. Yeah, and he could have gone there and decided it was a joke and never look back at it, and then the spirits will have to choose another spirit that apparently was Leon Denis, that's the plan B. But so we see how a mission you choose to do it, and if you are able to fulfill it, you have the assistance of all the spirits, and we see the work of Kardec. But it's not guaranteed. We are not perfect spirits. Jesus' mission to take care of planet Earth, it was not. There was no plan B, because a perfect spirit doesn't need a plan B, right? A perfect spirit will fulfill its mission. But until we reach that stage, our free will can always interfere with our desires. Okay.
573.
Daniela has a question.
So I'm thinking about Emmanuel and Chico Xavier, right? So the Emmanuel's mission is still like the question before, like either in the spiritual world as an errant spirit or incarnated, right?
Yeah.
So because Xavier had a mission here incarnate, but Emmanuel was still in the spiritual world. So like two different dimensions. But
both with the same mission. Well, more or less the same mission.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I think, at least in my case, when I think about a mission or missionaries, it feels like a very, very lonely life, or a lonely decision, or a lonely pathway or journey. But I think if we look deeper, it's sort of like coordinated with other people. Like, for example, Emmanuel and Chico Xavier, they were for sure coordinated in this mission.
Yeah.
I mean, you say maybe there was a plan B if Chico Xavier would not be, you know, chose another path, but I wonder that mission was coordinated beforehand.
Yes.
And other missions also, they are probably coordinated beforehand because it looks like a solo job, but it's like Allan Kardec's example as well. He was not totally alone. There were all,
Great help from his wife.
but also the spirits who were coming to talk to him, the mediums who were doing the
work.
job. So like it's much more complex in a way.
Yeah, a mission is, you may feel loneliness, but it's not a solitary work. It's a work of a team always. And if you think, you gave the example of Emmanuel, right? Look at all the other spirits that worked with Emmanuel through the mediumship of Chico Xavier, right? Humberto de Campos, André Luiz, May. It's all a big team that Emmanuel was the boss, let's say. The mission of Emmanuel was to help and assist Chico Xavier in his life and his work. But yes, it's not. You may feel solitary sometimes, I imagine, as a missionary, someone like a Gandhi or a Mother Teresa, because you are doing a work that many people wouldn't understand.
For our perspective, we look at it.
Yes.
But from their own perspective, it's probably not.
Well, if you read the letters of Mother Teresa, she felt a lot of anguish and a lot of loneliness in her work. She felt alone a lot of times. She was never alone, of course, because the work that she was doing, you are not alone. But without because Chico, he had an openness to the spiritual world. So he was seeing spirits. He was talking to Emmanuel all the time. He was talking to the other spirits. So he was never lonely. Yeah, but Mother Teresa was not a medium. She was, but yeah, you cannot do the work that she did without being a medium. But let's say not a ostensive,
Don't complicate my life.
not an ostensive medium. She felt lonely. She felt lonely a lot of time because it's difficult to do a work where the majority around you do not recognize or do not understand the work. Not recognize, understand is a better word. Thank you, because it's challenging. So, but they may feel alone, but they're never alone.
There is a chapter in the Gospel of the Spirit that deals with melancholy, and there it's stated that the more elevated spirits that can be in some kind of a mission, they go through that melancholy of missing those at their own level, so to say, because we are here, they belong over here, they know all they have to lower themselves, but they can't really live as low as we are. So they go to a period of melancholy, missing those of their own group, so to say, and being able to have a conversation, a dialogue at their level, which they cannot do over here. So they go through, it's not a depression, okay, but a melancholy period because of this gap of moral intellect development between them and us.
You heard what Elmo said, right? Yeah, okay. All right, let's do one more, Philip.
573. What is the mission of incarnate spirits? Educating other incarnates, helping their advancement, and improving their institutions through direct material means. Missions vary in scope and importance, and the individual who works as a farmer accomplishes a mission just as a politician or a teacher does. Everything in nature is connected, and all spirits, while purifying themselves through incarnation, contribute to the accomplishment of God's plans. Each of you has a mission because each of you can be useful in one way or another.
So we go back to your question, when you said everybody has a mission. Yeah, it's the fact that everybody can have a mission, right?
Mhm.
But you can be useful to others. Everything in nature is connected. When we are purifying ourselves, without charity, there is no salvation. We're practicing charity, we are being missionaries. We're being missionaries, we're progressing, right? When we are not practicing charity, when we are idle, and that's the first question for next week, you cannot say you are in a mission, because if you're not doing anything useful, you're idle. You're not, you know, we all have the potential of being missionaries in our own way, but not all of us are on a mission because we may choose not to do it. Okay. All right, we are going to stop here, and we continue next week. Just a reminder of what we have this weekend. On Saturday, we have a lecture by Marcelo Neto from the Florida Spiritist Federation. Florida Spiritist Federation. He's the president. Marcelo is a very good speaker, and he's very emotional. It's very interesting to hear him talking. He's going to talk about the peace of the world and the peace of Christ. Okay, this Saturday, 11 a.m. through the United States Spiritist Federation YouTube page. Our study this Sunday is the Mediums book. It's the third Sunday of the month, so we study the Mediums book Sunday at 11 a.m. online only. Okay, and I'm going to ask now, Carol, can you do our, well, the book club I'm not mentioning because Daniela is on vacation until August, so we restart the book club middle of August. Okay, so Carol, can you do our final prayer, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
John. Thank you, everyone who are participating.